What's he doing?
Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review. Old Man Gloom. No, these guys are a doom metal act, a sludge metal act, whose members, respectively, are involved in other seminal and pretty well-respected groups in extreme music. ISIS, Converge, Doom Riders, Cave In. Not only do these guys have a ton of experience in bands outside of Old Man Gloom, but they have 4 previous albums with this group, and this is their first LP in 8 years. Plus, on top of all these cool little nifty background facts, Kurt Ballou of Converge has been handling the production on this album. The riffs on this thing really concentrate on that low f***ing end. Earthquake, tanks rolling by, 2-ton weight getting dropped, bombs going off. What can I say to make you understand how heavy this album is? Just how violent some of the rumbles are on this album. From the ambient intro to the song Common Species right after, where you've got all these really slow, chugging riffs where the band will just really hit a note and let it ring out. No matter the volume or the speed Old Man Gloom is playing at, you feel these guitars. I actually feel like one slight letdown kind of right off the bat with this album is that it could have maybe been a little louder, a little more extreme. I want blood! What sort of separates these guys from other bands that are doom metal, sludge metal, influenced by metalcore and punk as well, is how willing these guys are to experiment with ambient music too. Very few bands are this loud and this extreme and are able to kind of go back and forth between those two genres so tastefully. And this is especially true on this album, where if you compare it with their last, you had the hardcore, the sludge, the doom separate from the ambient moments. Here, Old Man Gloom just marries the two, transitioning one sound into another sound on this album. And with these ambient textures, these prettier textures, Old Man Gloom adds a lot of character to these songs, which without these extra sounds would pretty much be riff machines. I love the really giant, heavenly chorus that really reminds me of Torch quite a bit at the end of the song Carry the Flame, or the Forking Path track, which has this really kind of industrial interlude toward the end of it, where you hear this metallic banging and clanging against what kind of sounds like noise coming from a heavily distorted bass. The closing track on here hits a really huge climax with shots of what kind of sounds like just brittle, ear-shattering white noise. There are ambient moments on here that feel almost Godspeed-like. And the song Rats has this introduction where the rumbles are so kind of heavy and strange, otherworldly. They feel like a giant beast awaking from a century-long slumber. I love the sounds on this thing. But I can't help but feel like some of the ambient moments, some of the extra sounds on this album are a little bit of window dressing, because what is really at the core of some of these songs? Almost every one of these tracks, I can't help but feel like the riffs really aren't all that distinctive, from the grooves that they're laying out to the notes that they're playing, which is kind of sad because it feels like Old Man Gloom put enormous effort into making their ambient moments sound freaking amazing. I wish the vocals changed up more. Outside of the last few moments on the album, you kind of get an acoustic ballad, which is decent, and the vocals do feel a bit more emotive on the last track when they are screaming, but for the most part, you just get this constant, unwavering scream that track after track after track, I just kind of feel like I start tuning out. And I just wasn't really all that enthralled with some of the chord progressions on the album too, especially when the band would do something dark and kind of melodic. From the first few tracks that I heard, I thought this was just going to be pretty unique and heavy experience, and I did get the heavy. I did, but I just didn't find a lot of staying power between these tracks, despite the fact that Old Man Gloom definitely has a unique angle with this ambient sludge doom combination. I just wish they put more character into the louder, heavier moments on here. Kind of feeling a decent to strong 6 on this album. What did you guys think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? Where do you see this album in terms of Old Man Gloom's older LPs? And what should I review next? Anthony Fantano, Old Man Gloom, no, forever.